Don't come at me saying, oh, you do know where these come from, because I've heard it all before. Here at Name Explain, we love explaining how things got their name. That's kind of the whole point of this channel. Yet, sometimes we hit a dead end. While we've been able to find names and words to explain over hundreds of videos for almost 8 years at this point, we are never going to be able to explain every name and word. This is because despite how much research and studying into etymology many people have done over the years, there are still some words that we aren't entirely sure about as to where they actually came from. And I'm not talking about weird, strange words you've never heard of. Many of the words of unknown origins are some of the most commonly used words that we utter and write on a daily basis. So today, instead of explaining some names, let's look at some names that can't be explained. I also need to clarify that for many of these words we do kind of know where they come from, as in we know the older words they came from. Like we might know an English word comes from an old Latin word which then in turn came from an old Greek word, but we don't know where that old Greek word came from. So don't come at me saying, oh, you do know where these come from, because I've heard it all before. I'm struggling enough to make this into a whole video as it is. It's kind of just like hard to make this concept into a full video about me just reciting a list of words, but we're going to try and do our best. Cool. I think two of the most interesting words with unknown origins have to be girl and boy. These are two words we hear and say all the time, yet despite how commonly used they are, we have no real idea as to where these words actually come from. The closest idea we have for girl, however, is with the 13th century term of girl, but what's interesting about this one is the fact that it could actually be used for young people of any sex or gender. Where that word came from, however, we don't know for sure. These two terms really show us just how many commonly used words we have in English that have meanings that are completely unknown. Girls and boys are definitely animals, and yeah, that's how we're doing this transition into animal names, but there's even more specific animal names that are from unknown origins too. One of the most famous cases of a word with an unknown origin is with the word of dog. Dog is seen as the poster child of sorts in linguistic circles of a word with an unknown origin. Like we use this word all the time and many of us have dogs, but as to where it comes from, who knows. It has no real link to other names we use for these creatures like hound or canine, yet despite that, dog is the most popular word for these mutts. Another popular pet is the rabbit, and I'm mentioning them because they too have a name of unknown origins, and while bird is the word, we don't know where that word bird came from. Also, toad. No idea about that one either. So yeah, dogs, rabbits, birds, toads. There's many more animals, but I kind of have to restrain myself in this one. But yeah, lots of silly little animals, and we don't know where their names came from. That's sad. I wonder if they're sad about that. Probably not. They're just dogs and rabbits and birds and toads. They've got other things to think about, I guess. They probably don't even know they're called a dog. Dogs probably do. Toads probably don't know they're actually called toads. Before we continue, I want to say a huge thank you to my most recent patrons and super thanks leavers. So a huge thank you to new patrons Joseph Highland and Brian Oxley, and super thanks leaver Hillogical. Patreon is the best way to financially support Name Explain, and donating just $1 a month gets you ad-free videos, a chance to say what names I've explained, an exclusive monthly newsletter, and your name at the end of these videos. All of that can be found at patreon.com/Name Explain, which will be linked down below. Conversely, if you want to just make a one-time donation, you can leave a super thanks directly in the comments section of any of my videos here on YouTube. They help out tremendously too. Thank you. Anyway, most of these animals are eaten in some way or another. Oh, that's another great segue to the next topic. But there are many other foods that have names that we aren't too sure about either. Mushrooms are beloved by many. I'm personally not a big fan of mushrooms, but I won't hold it against you if you are. And despite how fun that word is, we actually have no idea where it comes from. It just mushroom. It just exists, and that's fun. Likewise, almonds are pretty popular too, and their etymology is unknown. Same goes for jam and ketchup. Jam and ketchup, two like red liquids. Jam's not always red, I suppose. Neither's ketchup. Does anyone remember the way green and purple ketchup I think Burger King did in like the mid-2000s, early 2000s? Wild times. I remember being freaked out. Oh, it's green, but still ate it. It still tastes like ketchup because it's just full of awful artificial colorings. Huge tangent. Let's move on. Yeah, the one that upsets me most in regards to a food not having a known etymology has to be cheese. I love cheese, and I would quite happily dedicate a whole video to the name cheese to show my love for it. But we don't know the origin of the word cheese, so there's very little point in me covering that one, I suppose. And one last one in regards to food. While not exactly a specific type of food, garnish is a word of lost origins too. Garnish, I mean, it kind of is food. We use it as a verb. We garnish food. And a garnish is a kind of food, I guess. Like, we use certain foods as a garnish. I don't know, just wanted to mention it because why not? Many objects and items we use every day also lack definitive etymologies too. While a clock can tell you the time, we can't tell you where that word comes from. Same goes for spoon, rag, and cup too. Gadget and gizmo are often seen as one and the same, yet we know where neither of those words come from either. And one of the most popular subject matters here in educational YouTube land has to be flags. And flag also lacks an etymology, which is really sad. Like me and many other educational YouTubers, we talk about flags all the time, but we don't know where that word comes from. What a tortured, horrible life we must lead where we talk about them but don't know where the word comes from. Sad. I should maybe do another video about a flag at some point. Flags with names. Yeah, let's go. Someone going to suggest that one. Cool. There's even some first names we don't know the true origin of. I actually covered some of these in my old Fun with First Name series and probably said something like, we don't know where this name comes from, but we have some ideas, because that's what I said most of the time in those videos. But this includes names like Arthur, Elvis, Moira, Oscar, and Selma. I think I did a couple of those in videos, but seriously, the moment I finish making one of these videos, all the knowledge and information from that video kind of just droops out my brain and I refill it with the next video. It's a shame. My brain is kind of like, it's not a sieve per se, it's just a constantly being filled and being emptied jug. Just information in, information out, new information in, new information out. But yeah, we're getting there. This job definitely hasn't broken my brain in any way, shape or form. And finally, there's this really fun selection of silly names you can call people, and they all come from unknown roots too. I'm talking about words like chump, jabroni, lollygagger, and nincompoop. I love all of these terms, especially jabroni. I don't know, I quite like nincompoop and lollygagger as well. And chump's great. They're all just wonderful words, and we have no idea where they come from, but we should just collectively agree to use them more often. Like I said, even if we don't know where exactly they came from. Hopefully that video was a tad more enjoyable than me just reading the Wikipedia list of words of unknown etymologies that I got them all from. Though, let me know about any other interesting words of unknown origins I might have missed out on in today's video. Also, please suggest a topic down below which we could cover in next Monday's Name Explain video. It could be about literally anything, and the topic can be as niche or broad as you like. I will then choose 3 of those topics and place them in a poll exclusively for my patrons to vote on. Then the winner from that poll will be the topic covered in next Monday's Name Explain video. You can vote in that poll as well as enjoy many other great benefits by visiting patreon.com/nameexplain, which will be linked down below, and by donating just $1 a month. Thank you. Anyway, that's more than enough for myself, but don't forget to go follow me on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT, and don't forget to join the Facebook page Friends of Name Explain, where you can chat with myself and many other name nerds. Okay all, take care. That looks alright. Yeah, good. We love explaining where things' names came from. That's kind of the whole... Is that grammatically correct? That's an awful sentence. I'm going to wing that one. Let me do that again. Many of the words that we use have... I also need to clarify that we have no real idea where to... It's like 3 lines. I self-laughed it up. Most popular subject letters here... Subject letters? Godspeed, I guess. Thank you. Ta.